It is indeed unfortunate that that the whole support of the defense establishment has become viewed by some as partisan. Uh, it's not partisan by design, it's partisan by default. And I'm going to address in the next few moments a survey we did about the Tea Party, which is also often perceived as Republican, perhaps even by design. And I don't have the statistics directly in front of me because this wasn't what we were going to address in this survey, but you should know that the Tea Party is roughly 60% Republican, 20% independent, and 20% Democrat. So that when we look at the statistics we're going to see in this survey, please bear that in mind. This is, even if the representation in the Congress of those who support the defense and military tend to be almost entirely partisan, the Tea Party movement under it is a bit broader than that. Also, I noted with interest your comment, Tom, about some years ago we would have had Scoop Jackson Democrats here. Well, Frank referred to our being old friends, which I'm getting increasingly defensive about. But 35 years ago, Frank and I met, and he was in fact on Scoop Jackson's staff at that time. So we actually have a Scoop Jackson Democrat with us today, although he's undergone considerable conversion and refinement since then. In any case, let me quickly take you through the survey. Let me tell you what we did. This is a survey. If you could bring up the first slide, I'd appreciate it. Who's on the slide? Am I on? Not here. Great. This is a survey that we did about 7 months ago. And is a survey of 1,000 likely voters, so it's a national sample. And then we asked the survey respondents, are you generally supportive of the Tea Party movement or generally unsupportive? And I then characterized them in the survey you're about to see as pro-Tea Party and anti-Tea Party. But that wasn't quite the way the question was asked. It was generally supportive or not. So what we're taking you through here is each question, I will show you the answer from all voters and then break it down into the pro and anti-Tea Party voters. So the purpose of the survey is to show you that the Tea Party is more pro-defense than you might think, because right now with the pressure on budget and with the characterization of the Tea Party as primarily fiscal conservatives, anyone could be forgiven for concluding that the Tea Party is probably in favor of defense cuts as part of fiscal conservatism. And we're going to see that that's not quite the case. So the first question that we asked was, do you think that the Tea Party movement should maintain its focus on economic issues or broaden its agenda to include such issues as defense and foreign policy? We're not sure. 47% of all voters said it should maintain its focus and 30% broaden its agenda. But look what happens when you break it down. 52% of the pro-Tea Party says that they should maintain its economic focus, and 39% of the anti-Tea Party. Then we get down into the weeds of the defense budget. Is the defense budget filled with cost-cutting opportunities, or should it be maintained at approximately current levels? And the two choices. Our defense budget is filled with opportunities to cut spending, or defense spending should be maintained at current levels. 49% of all voters, but break it down, only 34% of Tea Party or pro-Tea Party supporters think that it should be maintained at current levels, whereas filled with opportunities to cut spending, 70% of the anti-Tea Party want to cut spending. Is there a threat to national security from jihadism that is greater or less than prior threats? Overall, 55% think it's greater, but 67% of the pro-Tea Party universe think it's greater, and only 43% of the anti-Tea Party. So that's us. That's our crowd. Second question on the threat of jihadism. Was the Obama or Bush administration, which one had a better strategy for dealing with jihadism? And 36% of all voters, but only 12% of pro-Tea Party voters think that the Obama administration was better. This is perhaps the single most stark chart in the entire survey. 66% of the anti-Tea Party people think the Obama administration has it right, 12% of the pro-Tea Party. So the Tea Party is the constituency for the support of the military, and they should be seen as that and not just deficit hawks. Third question on the threat of jihadism. Are there likely agents of al-Qaeda or other jihadists that have penetrated the federal government at high levels? Is that very likely, somewhat likely, not very likely, not at all likely? Overall, 29% very likely, 23% somewhat likely. Tea Party, 49% very likely and 27% somewhat likely, versus a total of only 30% on the anti-Tea Party. So, in effect, the Tea Party gets it. They're seen as fiscal conservatives, but they understand the challenges of to defense.